Okay, so when you're looking at establishing a shooting range, or for that matter, any commercial real estate venture, you're going to have three pots of money that you got to deal with. And the first of which, and the most important, is what I call pursuit money. That's money that's going to be spent in the early stages of compiling enough information and studies and plans and due diligence type of work product to verify that you in fact want to make the equity investment and that you can pitch this deal to investors and to a lender. And so that's tens of thousands of dollars. There's just no way around it. This is not I'm going to cash in my 401k, I'm going all in, I got a great poker face kind of deal. This is, you have to be able to spend this money comfortably to navigate into the process and be diligent about decisions and receive advice and deal with the emotions of the desire for this business to become a reality in a very straightforward and collected and calm and thoughtful way. Business decisions. You got to be able to navigate. So I've got in this a very rough layout. It's not fully comprehensive, but I've had this question repeatedly, so I wanted to put this together to give kind of an overview of it. And that is to say, once you engage me, it's a monthly fee, $2,500 a month. So every from the date of engagement, every 30 days thereafter, I usually try to set it up so we're at the first of the month, ideally, so it's easily remembered. And then operating agreement, architectural fees, legal fees, like I say, for the operating agreement, but then also legal fees for negotiating for real estate contract, depending on the complexity of the deals. This all gets mapped out later in the process. As you can see, these come later. And so as we progress through this process of discovery and budgeting and getting proposals from all the participants, vendors, designers, contractors, etc. This is where, like I say, tens of thousands of dollars get spent. One big variable in here is going to be, depending on the market you're in, is the property that we're pursuing. Has it been on the market for a long time, or is it hot? And will the seller take it off of the market, allow us to put it under contract for a sum of money that you got to have liquid to put into escrow? There'll be a period, your contract is negotiated the way that I negotiate them, there'll be a period of time where you get a free look. But to get that free look, to get the property under contract so you have legal control over it and it can't be sold to someone else, you got to be able to put money in escrow as good faith money. If 30 days later it's not working, or 45 days later something's not right for whatever reason, you terminate, you get that escrow money back. But then it's going to go hard, and then you start dealing with the potential for extensions, and you have the need for more escrow money. I've done deals where I put $30,000 in escrow, and I've had deals where we put $5,000 in escrow. So it just depends. The point in all of this is you got to have tens of thousands to comfortably get to a point to even have a shot, even a chance at pitching this thing to investors if you need them, and to a lender, to a bank. There's more to the list than this. Obviously, a little bit of this is secret sauce, so I'm not going to totally divulge. But you can see when you look at this schedule, how all these parent, the design process, the city permit process, they all interlace and intertwine and are interdependent. And so this is one of the first documents you get when engaged, so that this is a little bit more clearly mapped out. So I hope that's helpful in terms of what to plan for from a budgetary perspective in this process of trying to establish a range. There's a lot to it, a lot of moving parts. I'm here to effectively help de-risk the project to the extent that I can, which is usually pretty substantial. There's also, the question of, what's the added value for my role here? Is there a tangible, all right, Stuart, where are you going to actually save us dollars? Well, here it is. With my involvement and my experience dealing with the architectural design team, the general contractor, and the equipment manufacturers. My role is to serve as an interface in the areas where you might not or don't have deep experience. It's not a matter of how smart somebody is or isn't, although maybe that's not an absolute statement. But it's just a matter of experience and knowing what to look for and knowing what to do and when, so that tasks are in a logical order, so nobody's wasting any time spending resources on issues that just aren't relevant in the moment. And that coordination will help ensure there are fewer exemptions, exclusions, qualifications in the bid process with a contractor, because the plans from the architect are going to be more clear. And the more clear they are, the better and more confident the GC is going to be in his pricing. So there's money saved because there's more clarity in this design process. And I'll tell you, name an equipment manufacturer. Every deal I'm involved with, I'm heavily involved in coordinating among the design team, the engineers on the design team, particularly mechanical and structural, a little bit electrical, not so much on plumbing. It's not a huge issue. But I mean, if it's not disclosed at some point along the way that you have to have a condensate line coming from the range HVAC units, and those things are kicking off dozens of gallons of water per day in condensation, and the city inspector comes up on the roof and says, hey, well, we got this water running across the roof. That's not permitted. It's not a simple change to just come back and drop a line down into your downspout. That's not how that works. I guarantee you, unless you're just in the middle of nowhere, Bumpkinville, and have no kind of, no permit regulations, which there's a few of those isolated spots around the country, but the vast majority of locations are not going to, that's not an easy fix to come back and fix after the fact. So there's value in the transparency of the clarity of what's needed within the plan documents, construction documents, and how the GC approaches and bids the project, where I'll save you time and money. Additionally, you will contract directly, if I have say over it, contract directly with the range equipment and range HVAC manufacturers who will design, supply equipment, install it, and test and balance and commission all of those systems. Contracting directly means that your contractor does not take them on, who in fact would, in my estimation, add very little value to being the middleman, because it's not something they've done repeatedly. If they've done it once or twice, that's great. We got a leg up. They kind of know what to expect or look for. But I consistently find that any that have even a range in their book of business, there's still a tremendous amount of coordination that has to happen. And I fill that role. The GC isn't necessarily going to see or understand all the triggers within a equipment manufacturer's contract that you have to abide by to help ensure that you do not end up in default of that contract. There's a whole other story there that I won't go into. But contracting directly means you're not paying the GC an additional fee for arguably $1 million worth of equipment that they're tacking their fee onto. So the GC's fee is based on the price of the project. And if we can pull that equipment out of the GC's scope, then that's a savings that certainly would take a massive amount of the range development services fee and absorb it. So that trade-off is you're getting all the benefits of the advice and guidance and deal de-risking, and you're not paying an additional fee unnecessarily.